Coming up on DFE News, the FBI arrests the alleged January 6 pipe bomber, and it's not the female Capitol Police officer. We've got the details. Also, a win for Republicans as the Supreme Court rules in their favor in the war over redistricting. We'll tell you where. And the day that lives in infamy. Sunday marks the 84th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. We've got news for you, those stories and more right now on DFE News. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on DFE News. News done right. I'm Jeff Kirk. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment so everyone gets to see DFE News. So much is going on. Let's get right to it. After years of speculation and suspicion and even some false leads, the FBI has arrested the person they believe to be the January 6 pipe bomber. The FBI announced the arrest of 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, Virginia, in connection with placing pipe bombs near the headquarters of the RNC and DNC the night before January 6, 2021. The FBI said there were no new witnesses, no new tips that led to the arrest. They just put together the information they already had, which led them to Cole. Cole reportedly worked for his father's bail bond company, which specialized in helping illegal immigrants. The company also had filed lawsuit against the Trump administration months before the 2020 election. The lawsuit failed. Mainstream media wasted no time in painting Cole as a MAGA supporter, claiming he bought into the narrative that the 2020 election had been stolen. But the FBI reports that Cole had started to buy bomb-making materials and store them in his home before the 2020 election even happened. Cole's family said he's autistic and is more of a reclusive computer nerd who is not politically affiliated with anything and doesn't even vote. The arrest comes a month after Blaze Media conducted a gait analysis of the bomber and drew a match to former Capitol Police officer Shawnee Ray Kirchhoff. The FBI says Kirchhoff was never a suspect. A ruling from the Supreme Court allows the state of Texas to move forward with its redistricting plans ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. The ruling, announced Thursday, overturns a lower court decision that Texas's plan was unconstitutional. The new congressional map in Texas could add another 5 seats to the GOP. President Trump has been pushing for red states across the country to redraw their congressional maps to fight back against years of Democrats doing the same thing in blue states. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom promised that if Texas is allowed to redraw its maps, his state would as well, leading to fears of a massive countrywide redistricting war. Political analysts believe red states have more to gain through redistricting because blue states are already so heavily gerrymandered and are losing population to red states. New information about the welfare fraud case in Minnesota paints not just Governor Tim Walz in a bad light, but also Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar. The Department of Homeland Security released pictures that show both Walz and Omar cozying up to a man named Abdul Dahir Ibrahim, one of the Somalis recently arrested as part of the ongoing fraud investigation in the state. Ibrahim was convicted of asylum and welfare fraud in Canada back in 1995, before authorities say he snuck into the U.S. and spent the last 30 years here illegally. He's been arrested multiple times since then, and a judge even ordered his deportation in 2004 based on major crimes. Somehow he managed to avoid police until this year when he was arrested as part of the current investigation into the fraud schemes. During his time in the U.S., Ibrahim seems to somehow become very close to some of Minnesota's prominent political figures. Right now, neither Walz nor Omar have been charged with any wrongdoing, but it does make for some awkward questions, like just how deep does the fraud go? Estimates of the total amount of fraud coming out of Minnesota has risen from $1 billion to $8 billion of taxpayer money. Streaming giant Netflix announced Friday it's agreed to purchase media rival Warner Brothers in one of the biggest deals in entertainment history. The two companies reached a deal said to be worth more than $72 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. The deal includes all Warner Brothers film and television properties, as well as subsidiary HBO and HBO Max streaming. Netflix will now own the Harry Potter franchise, Lord of the Rings, the DC film universe, including Batman and Superman, and TV series like Friends, Game of Thrones, and The Big Bang Theory. In an email to subscribers, Netflix says nothing is changing today, and both Netflix and HBO Max streaming services will continue to operate separately. Netflix has been the target of multiple boycotts from the right since the company has used its media platform to push LGBTQ, witchcrafts, and other ideologies into children's programming, so buyer beware. That's part of the reason why we here at DFE are working to create a better platform with high-quality content that guards hearts and minds. We hope you'll join us in building it. This week, December 7th to be exact, marks the 84th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched a surprise air attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. This would become the tipping point for the U.S. to enter World War II. Roughly 2,400 Americans were killed and another 1,100 wounded in a day that, in President Roosevelt's words, would live in infamy. A large percentage of the military fatalities came aboard the USS Arizona, which rests to this day where it sank in the harbor. The Arizona Memorial is the site of an annual remembrance ceremony, complete with a missing man formation flyover. As the number of Pearl Harbor survivors continues to shrink, preserving their stories and their memories is more important than ever. And finally, shop class may have disappeared from a lot of high schools, but one school in Virginia is doubling down and doing so with a purpose. In partnership with Giving Words Ministry of Virginia, students at Louisa County High School learn how to fix cars and at the same time help fix their community. The program provides students with hands-on experience working on real vehicles. They repair cars for teachers, fellow students, and neighbors at reduced prices. And best of all, when there's a special need, the car is awarded to a single mom in the area.
So far, we've given over 60 cars away. We've repaired over 260 cars.
We just gave away another SUV to a single mom.
So the last one we did, we roll up the garage door and like the moment of surprise, like you have to be there to see it.
And typically what it was is there wasn't a light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't somebody saying yes and somebody helping. And so we want to be able to stabilize a mom. That student's working on that car and he's putting forth all that effort, but he doesn't know the emotion that's going to come when he sees that mom come in tears.
Not everybody has everything they want, and giving something that someone needs, it feels good.
Always great to see people helping people, especially young people, and even more so at this time of year. The ability to get to a job really opens up a lot of opportunity for people. I love it. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, and engage with us so that YouTube and all the socials push it out to more viewers. Thanks to our friends at crosscurrentdigital.com for sponsoring DFE News. If you'd like to become a DFE sponsor, just click on the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Thanks for watching DFE News. News done right. See you next time.